So, young earth creationists are religious folks who typically come from evangelical backgrounds in the West. It's basically anybody who believes that the earth was created more or less in its present state by God or another divine being approximately 6,000 years ago. If you've never heard of this before, you might be saying, oh my, what about the inbreeding?
Well, surprise, surprise. This person who's an atheist doesn't believe the Christian message. Wow. What a surprise. Of course, it's not a surprise. We know that this person who rejects God is going to reject the Christian faith and reject the Bible. Now it's interesting. She, first of all, talks about, these creationists, they're religious people.
Young earth creationists are religious folks who typically come from evangelical backgrounds in the West.
Well, I got news for you. Everyone is a religious person. Everyone has a worldview. She has a worldview. As an atheist, her worldview is based on naturalism. That's her worldview. That's her religion. Her religion is everything is material. Her religion is there's no God. Everything is explained by natural processes. That's her religion. And what is interesting to me is she's mocking Christianity, of course, and those who believe the Christian message. And she uses the phrase, my God.
You might be saying, oh my, what about the inbreeding?
So she rejects God, but she uses the word God. But of course, it's taking God's name in vain. And I think that's because she does not want to acknowledge who God is, the God of creation, the God of the Bible. And yet, we have a conscience. We know there's a God. God has made it evident to all that he's the creator. And yet, here she is using my God as, basically a phrase that's taking God's name in vain. But it's interesting that she does that. The other thing is she mentioned the term inbreeding.
You might be saying, oh my, what about the inbreeding?
Inbreeding. Of course, that'd be a reference to the fact that the Bible says God made Adam and Eve. They had sons and daughters, who then had sons and daughters, who then had sons and daughters. And obviously, originally, from a perspective of biblical history, brothers had to marry sisters. Well, here's the thing. Number one, when you get married, you marry a relative because we're all humans. It's just today you don't marry a close relative. Now, Abraham married his half-sister, and that wasn't a problem. Why is it that close relatives don't marry today? And the doctrine of marriage, anyway, comes from the Bible, and it's one man for one woman. There was no difference between a man and woman getting married originally back at the time of Adam and Eve than a man and woman today, except in the closeness of the relationship. Well, at the time of Moses, God brought in a law that no longer should close relations marry. And one of the problems is today we've got all these accumulated mistakes because of sin. And so if those mistakes get together in the offspring, they can cause problems. That's why it's better to marry someone further away in relationship from you. But even that principle of close relations not marrying itself comes from the Bible. And so it's not inbreeding. It's a man and a woman getting married, and they were close relations originally. Now, the interesting thing is if you believe in evolution, then anyone can do with anything or any what or whatever. And who cares? Why does it matter? There's no basis for any morality or anything like that. With Christianity, it's one man for one woman for life. And she's mocking us and using the term inbreeding when she believes she's just an animal and comes out of an evolutionary process from the animals, and animals can do anything they want with anyone, and there's no rules, and whatever's right in your own eyes. She's ridiculous. She's an atheist, and as an atheist, she has no basis for morality except what she wants to decide for herself. It's all subjective. When they have no king, no absolute authority to tell them what to do, they all do what is right in their own eyes. And so how can she then be trying to use moral judgments against others? She can't do that. She's totally inconsistent, totally hypocritical, and needs to go and learn how to think logically. Now learn why evolution doesn't explain the creation of the universe and how to answer skeptics who question the Christian faith in this 25-minute video.